Hey, what was that?
Went forward in time to view alternate futures, to see all the possible outcomes of the coming conflict.
How many did you see?
14,605,000.
How many did we win?
One.
Hey, howdy, hey, Marvel fans, if there's any of you left. Wolfman47- here. So, I'm not going to go into too much detail about the MCU, how it's doing at the moment, because I've spent a lot of time talking about that already this year. So, what I am going to do is going to cast your minds back to the sort of towards the end of the Infinity Saga, which, as we all know, was Marvel's prime. Basically, it was making lots of money. All the films were consistently good, with some stinkers, but otherwise consistently good, and ended pretty perfectly. Even though the official ending is actually Spider-Man: Far From Home back. No, but yeah, is what it is. So, in Avengers: Infinity War, we finally get to see Thanos actually do something instead of sit on a chair, and in my opinion, one of the best ways of building up to a villain, not sort of revealing too much of him until that particular film, because beforehand he made a cameo at the end of both Avengers and Avengers: Age of Ultron. He had a slightly bigger role in the Guardians of the Galaxy, the first one, and then we finally get to see the big man himself in obviously these two films. Of course, we do get to meet Gamora and Gamora and Nebula, who are, of course, Thanos' children, or among his children, so to speak, in the Guardians films. And it kind of gets to the point where he's on his quest to find the Infinity Stones after both Loki and Thingy from Guardians, who was also in Captain Marvel, I forget his name, Yondu, that's it, I think. Yeah, whatever. He collects the Infinity Stones, and on his journey he goes to that planet where a group of Avengers and half the Guardians are awaiting him. And it's at this point where we do and it's just before this point where Doctor Strange is going through all the different scenarios about how the Avengers could win, and he reveals that in pretty much all but one scenario the Avengers lose, and it's the one scenario where they win is the one where Star-Lord interrupts a process that they're doing to try and get the Infinity Gauntlet out off Thanos, and he succeeds in his plan to wipe out half the universe, only to then have his head chopped off, and the remaining Avengers going on a time heist to find the Infinity Stones, because he destroyed them, and undo what he did, and then defeat a younger one. So the question is, did Doctor Strange lie about those scenarios? And the reason I bring this up is because of all the things that the What If series has given us, there's not one time where we actually get an episode where the Watcher explores the what if scenario of what if there was another scenario where the Avengers could win. But of course, and now as we know, there's a lot of people that work on films that are lazy, as in lazy writers who write these scripts and everything, and then kind of don't really sort of look into things. Like some people, like some modern films have this one scenario where you could have saved that one thing but you didn't. You could have done this one way but you didn't. And I'm going to use Man of Steel as an example. So in Man of Steel, obviously made by DC, Marvel's main competitor, there's this point where Superman has General Zod in a headlock, and General Zod's using his heat vision to kill these citizens. And what does Superman do? He snaps his neck.
If you love these people so much,
You can mourn for them. Don't do this! Stop! Never.
Which is all well and good, but lots of people then assume, lots of people will assume that that's lazy writing, and that the writers will then say, "Oh, there's no other way Superman could do it." But actually, he's the Man of Steel. He could have deflected the vision. He could have moved Zod to the side a bit, and yeah, that's kind of what I feel about lazy writing. They try and make out that this is the only way, but then it's kind of like, no, it's not. But the thing is, I don't know. I forget how many scenarios Doctor Strange looks at, but it's well over 1 billion scenarios. So to come up with the one scenario saying that that's the only one where the Avengers do win, I'm not entirely convinced that that's entirely true, because there's been lots of theories. Like, some theories make out that someone managed to restrain Star-Lord so that the Avengers doing what they're doing to take the gauntlet of Thanos is working. Another scenario where they just chop his head off, where they chop his hand off, and all these other scenarios that could have worked. Although, saying that, there is one what if story that does kind of sort of delve into that, which is the Marvel Zombies episode, in which the events of Infinity War continue to happen, except Bruce Banner arrives on a zombie infested Earth. And then Thanos arrives only for his plans to be undone, thanks to pretty much there being zombies. So I guess in a way there was another scenario. It's just maybe at the time the writers didn't really think, oh, there could have been other scenarios. But anyway, it is what it is, and we got what we got. And yeah, it's one of those scenarios where you wish it could have ended differently. But the thing is, I think the reason why he said only one scenario is because the writers wanted it to be a two-part film, making out that the Avengers did indeed lose, and that the scenario Doctor Strange came up with is one where they do lose, only for then the sequel to sort of delve into the whole idea that they do actually succeed somehow. And yeah, so yeah, that's what I personally feel about that. I mean, who knows? Maybe they could have gone in different directions and so forth, and then game may have played out a little differently. But you know what? The two films that we got from that final phase of the Infinity Saga were amazing. Like, you couldn't have the cast was huge, the directing was great. Revealing Thanos as the main villain, finally getting off his chair and actually doing something, was great, because beforehand we only saw like bits of him, and then he finally reveals himself. Whereas in this multiverse saga, we did get Kang, then we don't have Kang, and now we have Doctor Doom, who I guess you could say comes out of nowhere without much build up. Although I don't know what's going to happen with the Fantastic Four and the Thunderbolts film, but we'll see when those films do eventually come out. So yeah. And that's pretty much all I've got to say about the whole idea that Doctor Strange might have lied about things. Although it kind of speaks, that sort of thing is also a thing that Benedict Cumberbatch does. You see, when the Avengers films were being made, these last two Avengers films, he was the only one that was given the whole script, and that's because, unlike certain individuals, like Tom Holland, for example, Benedict Cumberbatch was able to keep his mouth shut about the script, only revealing some things, but not revealing like everything like certain individuals do. So I think that's kind of why he decided, why in his character Doctor Strange, he said that there were several scenarios, but only one is the one where they succeed. So yeah. And still two great films that wrap up a lot of different plot holes and storylines, and give us hope that the next saga would be great. And yeah, we know what's going on with that. But it's not all been too bad. We've had at least 3, maybe 4 films that have been good in the Multiverse Saga. At least three have actually delved into the multiverse, while the rest has just been simply continuing stories for different characters and so forth. So yeah, I don't know if I will be looking forward to Thunderbolts or Fantastic Four First Steps or Baby Steps, whatever it's called. But the style of the Fantastic Four one at least looks interesting, so I'm definitely going to see that. And Thunderbolts also looks like it could be a dark black comedy kind of film, so I'm looking forward to seeing that as well. And as for the current series, who knows? I'm not really sure if I want to continue watching some of them, but yeah, Disney will do well again. I just have that hope that Disney, with their various companies, will do well again one day. It's just they're going through a rough patch at the moment and just really need to change things for the better. They're just so stubborn, those guys. So yeah. But anyway, that's what I think about that what if scenario. If Doctor Strange lied about there being several billion scenarios where they lost and one where they won. Leave your thoughts in the comments if you think there could be other scenarios, or you think I'm wrong and maybe Doctor Strange was right in saying that there was only one scenario or whatever. So yeah, other than that, thanks so much for watching. Like, share, comment and subscribe. I do various vlogs like this where I talk about various different topics, specifically things in pop culture, life in general, trying things, showing off things I bought, and just generally get stuff off my chest because I can. I'm also a gamer. I do gameplay videos where it's just straight up gameplay, no commentary, but some things added for good measure. Let's play videos where my camera's on and all sorts happen. I did used to do shorts that are random but usually have a reason for being around, or random clips, but I don't do that anymore. I now just stick to doing shorts where it's either cinema trips or I just want to show off something that I'm doing. So yeah, and trailers, etc. So that's what I do. See you in the next one. Peace to you all, and definitely try not to hurt your head. If you're looking through several different scenarios, do take some painkillers before. Take painkillers after doing so, because looking at all those different scenarios, it's gonna do your head in. I'm sure of it. So yeah, especially if you're using Sorcerer Supreme's character powers. So yeah, right. Doodles.
Lie detector test determined that was a lie.